Hey, what's going on, everybody? We all know inflation is going up. Quick reminder, 2019 inflation was 2.3%, 2020 is 1.4%, which is a little goofy, but we're at 6.8%. I just want to remind you that not only is your dollar not going further, you got to remember that the government's taking more of your money too. So I just wanted to quick remind everybody that the Social Security limit back in 2020, the Social Security limit was at 137.7. So you owed between you and your employer, 12.4%, 6.2% for you and 6.2% for your employer. There was a 12.4% friction between you and the first $137,000 that you earned. And just in, folks, not just in, it's been in for a little bit. In 2022, the limit is up 10 grand. $147,000. So essentially what the government just did there is they just said, you know what, give us another $1,200. 12.4% of $10,000. It's about 12 grand. Now you only pay $6,000 or $1,200. You only pay 600 of it and your employer pays that. But just so you know, there's a friction between you and your employer. And just real quick, I got to show you something pretty interesting. When you look at the what's happening here is you've got folks getting on the benefits like crazy. Actually, I already hit it on another video, but just so you know, not only is inflation going up, but they're taxing more money to pay out higher benefits while the labor participation rate continues to go down. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I want folks to remember that we have consequences to our elections. And for some reason, we've got a couple of interesting things. I walked through some folks through this again. Let's just go really quick. About 66, 67% labor participation rate. This is better than the unemployment rate. This has to do with how many people that should be working actually are working, rather than the unemployment rate is when people like quit looking for a job, which they did during the Obama era big time. They don't count them anymore. This counts them if they should be working. And you'll notice in 2006, 2007, 2008, all of a sudden a crisis hits and the economic slump comes and boom, it gets terrible. And I remember right here when it was at 64%, that was the lowest ever. It hops up a little bit. We do all this monetary policy. We print trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars, all the way through 2013, 2014. And the labor participation rate skunks and goes as low as it possibly can right before an election happens. An election where a guy, love or hate him, I'm not saying I love who he was, but he reduced bureaucracy, lowered taxes, and he let our employers and us have more of our own money rather than the bureaucratic class. And what happened is it went down. It was as low as it ever was for a long time, I think since like World War. I got to double check how far this goes back. 2015, it was at 62.5. It goes up, it goes up, it goes up, it goes up all the way higher than what it was to 63%. So we climb out of this tanking thing, and then all of a sudden COVID happens and it gets lower than it's ever been, down to 60%. And it was even, there's some numbers that were worse, and now we haven't rebounded back. We haven't rebounded. People are not going back to work. So when you look at that, and then you compound the fact that there's a whole group of people leaving the workforce right now, you're just seeing that there's not enough workers. There's not enough population. We convinced everybody by watching Fern Gully that the world was going to cook and that there was too many people. It's not true. Our birth rates are so low. Just ask Elon Musk or some of these other guys. We're probably going to hit some interesting situations here pretty quick. Good luck. God bless. Don't even know why I made this video except for the fact that it's just always startling to realize that not only is government taking a 6.8% chunk out of your money with inflation, that they just stole 6.8% of everybody's money by printing money, and they are causing the inflation. It is their fault. And then they have the gall to keep raising Social Security limits because they've had failure nerve for 25, 30 years to change the actuary tables in Social Security, and they raided the Social Security. They just broke all their math. So anyways, less money for everybody, but aren't we blessed? No matter what. I mean, we have it better than anyone has ever had it in all of antiquity. We are so blessed. We have so much. And yet, I think that we need to recognize that we could be on the cusp of just a couple more bad policies away from taking this great situation where more people have been lifted out of poverty than ever before and dumping it down the toilet, all because of silly collectivism that wants to try and lower the temperature of the planet and wants to somehow stick it to our employers, our corporations. And corporations are employers. We work for them. They're people. They're basically people. We get to participate in their profits. Do I love giant corporations? Not really. Why? Because of cronyism. I don't dislike. Businesses are only as corrupt as the amount of government for sale for them. And I'm telling you folks, at the heart of all corruption, go watch Narcos and watch where corruption goes. That's where evil follows. Wherever the narcotraficantes could buy the government is where they deal and traffic drugs. They don't go unless they get the government under the dole. And as soon as they've bought off government, all of a sudden they're corrupt. And there's no difference between the narcos doing that to the Mexican government or the Venezuela or the the Colombian government in the movie Narcos and lobbyists now. Crony capitalism, crony industries buying politicians. That's where the problem is. It's not so much with the free enterprise system. It's wherever there is bureaucracy and government power for sale. Anyways, good luck. God bless.